Welcome to the Pow Factor, the podcast where we share stories and insights from incredible women who are dominating in their fields. I'm Jori Mundy, your host, and today we're talking with Ginneh Baugh, who is a dear friend of mine, who I am so inspired by, who has made an impact in various communities and across different networks. She happens to be the Chief Impact Officer with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, and someone that has just been dominating in her field. Let's welcome Ginneh to the show. Well, I am so excited to welcome you to the Pow Factor. And I have continued to get so much value and insight watching you throughout the course of the evolution of your career. I continue to be inspired by you. And I'm just excited for this conversation. So we're going to get right into it. So as we celebrate the power of women, specifically as we relate that to this podcast, I see women as incredible people that just continue to innovate and elevate our culture and just impact different communities. And so with all that being said, can you think about a moment or experience in your journey where you have felt the power of you?
There have definitely been a lot of moments where I felt like in my element, and that what somebody said, the combination of things as me was really shining. I think that's probably some of those things that career-wise, moments where I was stretched or pushed. And so I'm going to point a little bit in the middle. And so you say about 8-10 years ago, that's when I had the opportunity to do something that was really scary at work and really lead an effort that was really critical to the strategic plan. So we'd spent all the stuff, all the digging, all the behind the scenes work, and there was this moment to celebrate it and talk about it on stage. So the stage moment was really the outward sign of culmination of all that work. And I had spoken a lot, public speaking all the time. This was the biggest moment, right? So you have this combination of a little bit of fear and a little bit of this and that. And then a friend says, hey, I'm going to be in the front, so just talk to me. And that was part of what folks said, is I could show up as all the intelligence. I know the process. We've been with the people. And I could talk like I was talking to a friend of mine. And so bringing all of that forward, I say those are the moments where I really shine. I can show that combination.
Wow, that's inspiring. And so when that friend said, hey, I'm here, talk to me, and you felt that defining moment of, I can show up and I can be authentic, I can be myself, and I can showcase this and feel all the glory of that. When you felt that moment, how would you think that that has helped you as you've continued throughout the course of your career, after you found, that light bulb went off for you and you felt like, this is what it feels like to be powerful, to be authentic, to stand, in your power. Do you feel like that shifted or it propelled you even further as you kind of moved forward in your career?
Absolutely. So anytime you get over a fear, whether that is the scrutiny of your words when you are speaking to a set of folks, or the fear of how you're going to look and show up. And so that has pushed me in some, tactical ways. Hey, find a friend. And there's always a friend out there in the audience. And it is one of those moments that's I go back to and remember and talk about how scared I was. And other people are like, this is nonsense. Why are you thinking that's silly? So it has been a good moment to go back to when I'm really nervous about something, and either take a leap or say, is that really that big of a leap? Because it's a lot of self-talk that's needed to get through some stuff. So that helps in the ownership of being in the moment. I deserve to be here. I'm fit. I'm the one. All that stuff that is needed at different times. And so it has. It's been a good memory, a good moment to go back to.
I know you've talked about just your journey and some of the adversities that maybe you have dealt with, but has there been specific adversities that you've encountered that have helped shape you to thrive?
One of the biggest adversities, I had a new supervisor. I'd already been working in place. New person gets brought in for me to report to. And I thought we had some more journeys and all kinds of things. And he looks at my resume and says, "You're not qualified for your position."
Wow.
Everything, like no filter, no nothing, like you don't have a PhD, your experience doesn't show anything. I don't know why you're in this job.
Wow.
And it was incredibly difficult. It was, I had always been kind of like, "Oh, you're special. Oh, you're great. Oh, you're doing so well." And so this knocked the wind out of me in a huge way. And it was my direct supervisor.
Wow.
Every day trying to prove myself, write stuff, redo work. You don't have the evaluation experience. You don't have the data experience.
Wow.
It's verbal stuff, mentally absorbing all of it in usually negative ways. And it was tough, crying and like it bred uncertainty.
Right,
of course,
right.
As well.
Yeah.
And the person that hired him, the head of our department, I said something to, and really, I don't remember how I talked about it, but she could see that it was affecting me in a really big way. And there's two things that happened. I didn't really believe and trust her in her, saying to me to take care of it or whatever else. But she said, sometimes you gotta let stuff work itself out. It kept coming back. And like I said, I didn't really believe because I was in such difficulty and it felt like it was going on continuously. And all I wanted it to do was stop. Get this man out of here. Get me out of here. Like, save me, help me. And then the other thing she did was give me a book called Goliath that was about the journey of David and Goliath, and also like your own personal journey to conquer the Goliaths in your life. And so that time, dark, hard, difficult, and the book, working the book, and I remember playing the music, stuff like Sam Cooke's "Change is gonna come," like change is coming. Lord, please help me with it. I need change. This is painful. And it did work itself out in that he moved on and I stayed. I was stronger on the other side because I had to build up the inside of me that said, am I defined by what somebody says about me?
Wow.
I have been doing my job. I have been in my career a good 10 years almost. If I can be knocked back that easily, right? So it built up a lot of my own ability to see what I was doing well. And so you've got to be able to write your own resume, write your stuff, be confident in your stuff. Did I do this? Did I contribute to this team in this way? What did leadership look like? Was I a leader? Like, okay, I did it without X and O qualification, didn't I? What? I'm not doing a job before so-and-so showed up. So that adversity really seeded the David and Goliath thing, that David didn't conquer Goliath on Goliath's terms. David didn't conquer Goliath by turning into a bigger, huge soldier. You got to use your own strengths. You got to use what you're good at. It really helped me to say, I'm going to lean into my strengths. Then I spent a ton of time getting better at the things that I do well. And I also decided I didn't want the PhD. So blah, blah, blah. Why go get it? Like, no, I don't have it. And I kept getting more moments where I could crystallize and show that. But doing the work, it did set me off on much more of a supportive, thing, and it's kind of like Strengths Finders and the whole notion of you have some natural talent, and times investment ends up being your strength. And the example they use in the book is Michael Jordan. You play basketball. I don't really play basketball, but I got, I can put the effort in. But neither one of us have the same natural talent. I can put the same amount of hours in as Kobe Bryant, and I will never be that talented. That's just not my area. That strength is not there. So take the things you're really good at and then invest in them. If I'm really good at translating research into everyday language, then get even better at data storytelling. That's something I think into. If I'm really good, like making that translation, find rooms and places where they need that. Practice it, read it, do the thing. So that's just, that adversity propelled me towards looking more at honing and refining my strengths.
Wow. That is a powerful story, Ginneh. Wow. That I feel like that there's so much in that story that you can pull from that, and our listeners can pull specifically from understanding that when you were in this position, there's, two options, which is you could believe in what someone else is defining you as, or you can choose to build up what you know to be true about you and to leverage and enhance those strengths to propel you forward, and trust and know that things will work out the way that they should. But at the end of it, you are going to be stronger. And it sounds like you got clarity, and, you were able to focus more intently on the things that make you happy and that you can do naturally that are going to feed into your success.
Yeah, for sure. And it all of that.
Wow. Well, that's an incredible story. I just, I'm still in awe, because I think of just the women that are in professional settings, who may deal with, supervisors or managers that maybe for them can't see their value, or they're put in a position where they have to showcase to themselves or make a decision to strengthen themselves in that way, and to know that you can use that to your advantage to gain strength and to move forward if you're in that scenario. And the things that, of course, Ginneh, you pulled from that scenario so that you could move forward in a successful way, regardless of that adversity that you were facing, which was huge, right? So that's powerful. So my next question, because I feel like this is a springboard. I know I've been fortunate to have supportive networks, i.e. Ginneh and others, to help support throughout the course of my career. But I think of, women that are just trying to elevate, and they're trying to find and step into their power, or their Pow Factor, if you will. And maybe it feels like it's a lonely journey, right? If they don't have that support. And so have you ever experienced that, where you maybe didn't have the support that you needed? And if you did, how would you, or what advice might you give to maybe our listeners, someone that is a lone star that doesn't have that support, so that they can continue to thrive?
So I've definitely felt alone, and I say it that way as an important feeling. So I had wonderful family support network, and lots of encouragement from my parents. They're both deceased. And so it is a feeling of loneliness. And I don't know if somebody has been there for you through a whole lot. Like, my dad was huge through my master's program. He was a great guide and mentor all through my educational journey. And so you go, oh, what's next? And we talked a lot about leadership. So big gaps can happen. And one of the things that I've really benefited from is saying out loud, I feel lonely, or texting somebody or whatever else. And it is usually by opening up that feeling is there, that tons of people show up. It's like spring flowers. Like all of a sudden, there's this one and that one, and I don't know. And sometimes I even feel bad. Oh, I'm calling this person again when I feel low. They only think all I do is ever feel low, and they are usually it's usually turned out wrong. It is usually 90% of 99% of the time that person that I even say I call only when I'm feeling bad, they give such energy. I feel better when I leave. We both leave smiling. So that's one about the experience. It's getting over the hump of the feeling to reach out even to the one person. Right. The other thing that my mother pushed me to do, which I learned slowly, continue to do, is to reach out to people I don't know. Just ask. It is amazing what will happen if you just ask. Now, you've got, might be yes, might be no. I use LinkedIn. I just message people. Hey, I saw your profile. You don't know me from anybody. I'd love to be connected. And I have met some amazing women that way. And the other thing I say to young women is, did you just try calling her? Like, you don't actually have to be an imposter. You don't have to do anything else. If you are authentic and saying, I'm on this journey, I'd love a mentor. I just want to know what it's like for you. I saw pictures of it, like whatever the inspiration of that connection is, to pursue it, because in that moment of, I don't think I have anyone, it might be a man who saw you thrive in that speech. And it's like, no, remember that speech you did in 20, blah, blah, blah. You know, somebody, women and men and people who will cheer you on, even if it's not a best friend, even if it's in talk to you all the time. So those are the things that I have cultivated, and I wish I did a lot more earlier, that I use that phone, I use those devices, and I am vulnerable enough to say, I'd like to talk.
Right. I love that. And what I hear you say in so many different ways is you were open and willing to be vulnerable, right? Because it's the step of being vulnerable to open up and say, you know what, in the moment that I'm feeling lonely and it feels like I need that support, it takes the step of vulnerability to open up and having that courage to reach out so that you can get the support that you need. And just recognizing that, making the ask to people that you're inspired by. You just never know what can happen from that if you are led by your heart. That's part of what I'm hearing you say is like, if you are led from an authentic place, if you see someone where you would like to be or someone that inspires you, then, just feeling that inclination to reach out, regardless of what the outcome might be, because you just never know what that could lead to.
Yeah. It has led to so many yeses for me. So many, especially somebody who, if you get to be in their presence and you're inspired or excited or whatever else, like, and you're like, oh, I love that energy. Oh, I love your hair. Oh, I love the book you wrote. And sharing that I want to write a book, or I'm wondering about a whatever. It has been so successful in the connection, and then me remembering that my network is bigger. I have to be reminded. I do have to be reminded when I'm like, oh, so-and-so knows all these people, or they can get all these doors open, and I can't. And somebody says, did you try? I was like, oh, maybe I didn't actually try. So
Yeah. That's incredible. And I feel like it's, I'm hearing you innately say, building that courage to do that and to know that and cultivate in your mind that you essentially can get more yeses by getting over that hump in some situations. So that's incredible. So, and I've heard you say, of course, the support from your dad and from your family. And I know you as my dear friend, and I've been able to just watch how you have managed career and family and just everything else. And I'm sure that would be insightful for our listeners on how you do it all, right? You're a successful woman that has continued to impact so many different communities, people, networks, and you're a mom and you're doing it all. So if you could talk a little bit about how you manage just the various aspects of being a powerful, successful career woman and a mom and.
So yes, I'm a mom. I have 4 children, and that is usually also the showstopper. So a lot of faith and commitment. My husband and I have been married 24 years. Um, he's involved. I mean, in the plans and the stuff and the I've learned a ton. I'm a better leader from my kids and the differences of being with each of them and saying, so constant prayer is help me to do what this child needs. Help me to make decisions that are in the best interest of this child. Right. And so that has meant, okay, I got to be up in the morning and calm for my daughter. She doesn't like mornings. Um, I've got to be able to talk to my 15-year-old in the voice of his the mother talking to a 35-year-old man. What do I see in his future? So there's all those things, right, that you get just from experience. That you become more organized, or you fall down. Like I have been late to meetings. I've had the spit up on the shirt. I have had the baby in the room with me because working and me was going to happen, right? Working and pursuing a career. I stayed home for a year with my first son. Mm, no, it wasn't working. We are all happier when mommy works, and it's a personal pursuit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be as fulfilled. Um, anyway, so this is all a messy way of saying I add a lot more stuff in. Volunteer. I committed to being involved in their schools. I email their teachers, and they know. The pandemic allowed for some beautiful things to happen for us, which means I was home and I was
Mm-hmm.
in the neighborhood more than I used to be when I was commuting.
Mm-hmm.
I developed those relationships. Like those are commitments. And
Mm-hmm.
you say, I'm committed to being involved and knowing their teachers. That's who I am. That's what I grew up with. So that was those kinds of things about, do I get it right all the time? No. Do I fire off emails to teachers when I can't talk to them? Yes. Do I bake the cupcakes? Yes, because I love baking. Am I tired? Yes. Like I don't know. There's not a ton of lots of days it does not feel smooth. uh, I learned probably, let's see. Um, so when the boys were very little, so the boys are stair steps. When they were very little, there would be this emotional, physical drag. And that's when I kind of learned about my skin. And I didn't want to look like I felt. So there's that about the combination. I have comics and stuff that I love laughing at because it is hard. And somebody else who is going to laugh and exaggerate the dragging the laundry and washing everybody else's clothes but yours. And so those are things that have helped me on the journey. Um, Today, they're teens, right? And I own and my own story and stuff. I was just telling my oldest, I don't always tell people I have 4 kids because there's a lot of shock value. And if I don't feel like about it, I don't. Right? That's the other thing about motherhood and work and being a professional. Say, own your own story. Uh, so when I feel like it and the stuff with my kids is in my head or emotionally getting to me, I say, hey, you guys, I'm a little distracted by some stuff that's going on with my son. And when I'm at the networking event and I don't feel like talking about my kids, I don't. Those are the kinds of things that you choose your own narrative and story. And And that's also been really powerful in creating kind of the balance or the synergy, or an Excel sheet might help me calm down real good. I don't want to talk about the kids and think about them, but I'm a whole person, right? Like, so we're holistic. Anyway, that's my long wandering.
Yeah, no, I heard so many different things in that. And the one thing I wanted to pull out when you first started was that you recognized you had the support that you needed in terms of, the organization or agency that you work for to be able to show up, right, as a career woman, as a mom, and that be, something that is receptive at that point in time, and you could operate that in that. And then I also heard you say, owning your own story, and I think that is so powerful, especially for women that are managing career, you're managing personal life, and it seems like you're trying to fit everything in. And it's like, once you acknowledge and own that story, then you can manage it from a place of calm, right? From a place of peace, and you can choose, how you want to share that out, or if you choose not to, basically from, from what you shared. So that is powerful. That's powerful. This podcast too, we really seek to not only celebrate the power of women, but give nuggets to the next generation, the emerging leaders who want to climb the ladder and really show up in their most powerful way. And so with that, what would you advise the next generation of professional women as they seek to elevate? What could help them the most based on your journey and, kind of the adversities maybe that you face, who are charting on that path? And they're like, if I could have this one thing, what would it be? What would you advise them to do?
So one of the biggest transformational factors has been having a coach. So an executive coach that helps pull out and guide you on your big vision for yourself. That's been so huge over the last several years, and certainly finding the right person matters, but the process of coaching to set a bigger vision, because even as you say, climb a ladder, I know the journey. I am now really clear on where I want to contribute. I want to broaden the path for Black and Brown kids to be economically successful and thriving families. So what are the roles I want to have on that journey? And my executive coach helped me really crystallize that in a way that allows me to have some additional anchors from a professional perspective. Huge.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So it's having someone there that can see that vision and take and help you take the steps to get you to where you want to go.
Absolutely. And it's inside you. You have your own story. You know what you want. The vision can change. So having somebody that gives you that guidance and, hey, here's a tool you might use, or here's the process for naming that vision. That's really impactful, because you get better, you get stronger, you discover stuff, but it's all inside you. That is absolutely truthful.
I love that so much.
It's all inside you.
I love that so much. Well, Ginneh, thank you so much for joining us. I know I am in awe of your story, and just really going deep and opening up and being vulnerable to share the insights of your story that are going to, I feel like, make a huge impact. You really went deep, and I am so gracious, because I know that there are women that are in their journey today that are dealing with that same scenario that you just mentioned, and maybe trying to figure out how do I navigate this situation and not lose myself in it, but gain strength, and also for those that may be thinking and wondering, am I on the right path? Do I like what I'm doing? How you can kind of pull from that scenario to say, you know what, these are my strengths and this is where I'm going to put my focus so that I can get redirected if I feel out of alignment to the right path. And so you have uncovered so many nuggets in that. I am so gracious for your time, and thank you for coming on to the show.
Oh, thank you, Jori. It's been really wonderful. And I've learned that it's powerful to share my own journey. Didn't feel like that before, but you and others keep pushing and saying, just talk, just share. And that's been really encouraging, really, really encouraging. And I love this opportunity and to be with you and say, look, you are a force. You are moving the air, the energy, you are moving resources and people, and we are doing bigger things. And so appreciate being on the journey with you.
Wow, that was such a powerful conversation. I am so inspired. I continue to admire Ginneh and all that she has done. I hope that you all got value. I hope that you got the insight that you were looking for and different nuggets that she shared. Now, until next time, remember to embrace the Pow Factor in you and continue to dominate as the powerhouse women that you are. I'm Jori Mundy. Remember to stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep leading with purpose.